Welcome back to another episode of the TikTok Famous podcast. Today on TikTok Famous, I'm sitting down with the effortlessly chic and globally inspired creator Leonie von Ungern-Sternberg, fresh off of her feature in the Times with her elevated aesthetic, sharp storytelling, and magnetic presence. Leonie is redefining what modern influence looks like. We're talking creative, identity, and the power of showing up with intention in a crowded digital world. So stay with us.
You're listening to the TikTok Famous podcast, where viral fame meets raw reality. Join your host, Meredyth as she dives deep with your favorite creators to uncover the real stories behind the scroll, the highs, the lows, the algorithm chaos, and everything in between. This is not your average interview. This is the TikTok Famous podcast.
Leonie, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Meredyth. I'm very excited about this.
And congratulations, the international version of the New York Times. Stop it.
I know, it was, I didn't even think so. So when I went to buy the paper, I had like it was like a 90%, 10% chance. I didn't think that I was going to see myself in it. But, when the store clerk then told me, you're in the international New York Times, I think that's really when it hit me. And I thought, okay, wow, like something that I'm doing is definitely right.
Yeah, it's definitely right. You came up on my For You page and I was instantly, intently listening, even as a 53-year-old woman. I was into it. And then as I told you, I sent it to my daughters. I was like, you have to follow this gal. Like, she's speaking about so many interesting topics and her delivery and things that we haven't, I don't think, heard for a while. Like, I think that it's almost like a reintroduction to the common core of just being a person nowadays.
Exactly. That's exactly what I want to do. I feel like it's just the core of humanity.
Yeah.
And the things that we see on social media right now, it's draining as well. And you have so many, people who are showing specific aspects of their life, people that are pretending to be something or somebody that they're not. And I feel like people are really they're starved for nuance and they're starved for context and really going back to that whole human aspect. How do we connect with others? How do we reignite that spark of curiosity within us? Especially, we have these things. We can chat GPT anything whenever we want, but placing the things in the right context, really listening to other people. I think that that's an art that's gotten lost. And that's something that I grew up with, and I realized that that's something that I can give back to society. So why not make content about that?
Absolutely. And it's funny because it took me a really long time to learn that you don't have to be, Pink made a song. It's like, you don't have to be the loudest laugh in the room. You don't have to be the loud one. And I think that when I heard you say that in the video, I'm like, oh my God, I have to talk to this woman, because it took me such a long time to learn that just like gently showing up and holding space and intently listening, that person leaves the conversation saying, oh my gosh, she was such a great conversationalist, even though maybe you didn't say too much except for asking questions and listening intently and so on and so forth. And I think, I don't know if it's a lost art or just one we haven't been paying attention to, of just holding space, being curious. I love how you talk about those topics.
And I think also, that right now, by the way, English is not my first language. I know that I have this accent, but sometimes I do struggle to find my words. To find my words. I have 3 languages up here.
Yeah.
But what I think is happening to the world right now is that we're so quick to say something, so quick to tell our opinions, that we forget to listen to the person in front of us. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've been at so many dinners, with people from my generation, where everyone's speaking. They're rushing to get their 2 cents in, but they're not really listening to what the person ahead of them is saying. So at the end of the day, you leave that conversation, you leave that dinner And what we think is, I was able to speak a lot of the time, so it must have been a great dinner. But you need to change that perception. What can I learn from another person? Because
Yeah.
we all have very different experiences. We all come from different backgrounds. It's in German bereichernd. It's like a gift to be able to converse with other people, and what can I take out of this? And I
Yeah.
think that that is a lost art. And that's something that I'm trying to bring back.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you've been there at a dinner party or a lunch, and you leave feeling like you've been bombarded, where there's that one or two people who take over the whole conversation. You feel lost, you feel overwhelmed. I mean, I went to a lunch for a gal one time and I left going, I will never go to one of those lunches ever again, because you just feel like your energy is exhausted from listening, you know what I mean? And no one's asking any questions. We see this in dating too. I can't wait till you really get into that part of your world, where you leave and the person, you're like, they didn't ask me one question. They
Yeah.
don't care about me. They're not curious about who I am as a person. And as I've gotten older, I've started to really recognize I know everything about my friend, and I know for a fact they couldn't name my sister's name. Like, done,
Wow.
period.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, and then you're
Yeah.
like, what kind of friendship is this? Am I just being a people pleaser? Am I just am I just a sounding board for them to hang out with? And I think, like, as women, we need to show up for each other. And I don't know if the word is analyze, but like take note of when people aren't asking, they might not care. And also, another thing that I noticed, because I have a wonderful group of women that I have dinners with once in a while, and it's so much time in between dinners that everybody's trying to get a word in edgeways. And I finally texted him and I said, maybe we need to have more dinners.
That would be exactly. Yeah, instead of, just bombarding, because if you just keep bombarding and you keep waiting to get your 2 cents in, you might be missing something that's actually very important. You never know what's going on in another person's life.
Yeah.
And but especially, women, we connect in a very beautiful, very sentimental, and very special way. We connect, and this is often, I think, taken out of or in the wrong context when we converse with men, for example. Because I know that the way that we connect is you tell me a story and I tell you, yes, I resonate with that because you know what, 3 years ago the same thing happened to me. A man might take that as, oh, she's just talking about herself. But we women understand that what we're doing is we're trying to build a connection with
Yeah.
our own stories. And it's like a game of ping pong or a game of tennis, right? So you speak about, somebody says something, you speak, then I connect with you for this reason. But what we forget to do is we forget to bring that back to them and forget,
Yes.
you know, we just
Yes.
leave the conversation there. We're like, yes, I got my 2 cents in, but we forget to bring it back and say, I remember how I felt in that specific moment. Did you feel the same way? It's just asking that one question that we forget. And I don't think it's, because a lot of people are just so self-absorbed. I just think that because of social media, because of this whole scrolling thing, on TikTok, the best videos that I make are under 2 minutes long.
Mhm.
And most of the topics that I speak about, I could speak about that for an hour. And I notice, people, if you don't cut to the chase in the first, I don't know what, I believe
2
it's
seconds.
2 seconds, if you
Yeah.
don't cut to the chase in 2 seconds, you don't have your hook, well, then you're done. And I don't know if you noticed, but I don't do that in my TikToks. I never have my hook at the beginning. I believe that if you watch me because you think that my content resonates with you or that you think it's something valuable. So you have to wait until I come to the point. You can't expect me to just say something like that. And that's exactly what I'm kind of working against, streaming
Yeah.
against.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The one thing I love about your content, I love everything, but
Thank
that
you.
really strikes me is that you have a very easy in, people might think, which is I come from one of the, what is it, only 19 aristocratic families in Europe that you
Old,
could
very
huh?
old please.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you could play that till the cows come home. You could roll up with, these are my designer items and I know everything, and like I am just the end all be all of information for all things aristocrat and royal and all this other stuff. But
Yeah. I'm not.
that's not the case at all. Like you're almost, I wouldn't say the anti, but you're like, this is a portion of my life that introduced me to all these things. And I want to bring you all the things that I learned because of this life. And also, you introduce us all to this. And P.S., my family lost everything.
Exactly. And that is the nuance and the context that so many people forget, because obviously when I say my last name, and I don't blame anyone for this, I'm met with a lot of stigma, of course. I don't blame anyone. I completely understand it. And a lot of people don't take the time to listen to the words that I'm saying, but others do. So I believe that you're completely right. It's an easy in, because obviously, not a lot of people from my background share a lot of their lives online. It's a very gate-kept community. Um, but wait, now I've lost my train of thought. It's a very gate-kept community. There's just so much to say about this topic.
Yeah, it's a big
Um,
one.
but I think, it's an easy in, but what makes the people stay is because they listen to me. And
Yeah.
I I also have to say that it's my name. As other people are called Müller or Baker or Schulze or whatever, it's just a last name. And I was always taught that, Leonie, yes, you come from history, you come with a heritage, but don't make the mistake to think that you are all that. You need to work hard, because everything can be taken away from you. This is something that I always say. Everything can be taken away from you in the blink of an eye, especially nowadays. We live in a world where, geopolitically, nothing is safe. Make sure that you take your education seriously and that you can stand on your own 2 feet. And that
Yeah.
is exactly what I want to give the world, especially what I want to give to women, because it's the same with for me, definitely also with men. You never know what's going to happen. So having the ability to name something of your own, to do something on your own accord, that is extremely powerful. And I think that's something that a lot of people think about when they think about the aristocracy. They have, Bridgerton and all of these things, and they forget that history happened.
Yeah.
European history it's most European aristocratic families. I'm not speaking about the UK, but at least in Germany, Poland, everything there, they lost everything multiple
Yeah.
times. And that is a context that a lot of people have forgotten about.
Yeah. I love the way you talk about, I don't know if you know what a Montessori school is, but I went to a Montessori school until I was in second grade. So when I was kindergarten through second grade, I was learning chess and Beethoven and Bach and, all the classics. And what a weird experience, because none of my friends were learning, music history in first grade. And so that was another topic that I really connected with you on, was bringing people into that life. And I think that we live in such a digital, fast-paced age where it's house music and rap music and,
Quick.
rock. Yeah, it's quick, it's fast, it's in your face, and so to try to introduce the younger generation into these romance ballet, and like, I always want to take, like, I'm going to see the Nutcracker at Christmas,
Mhm.
and I
Oh,
always did.
beautiful,
Yeah.
yes.
And I always have as a kid. My mom took us. And I think that a lot of kids are like, oh, I don't want to go to that. But you are making it cool again.
Well, that's amazing, because then that's one of those things, at the end of the day, we can't fight against what social media is doing to the brains of the younger generation. We can't fight that. What we can do, and that's also what I'm trying to do with my content, is in 3 minutes tell you exactly what you should listen to. If a piece is, for example, I did a video on Dvorak, and I said, listen, you need patience. I think that's also
Yes.
something that we're all forgetting. We need patience. And you can train your child a lot of patience with classical music, but also with art. Because when you look at a piece of art, a lot of people just look at it and say, oh, that's nice, but next one. You need to learn to see the details, and that takes a lot of patience. That trains your brain. And so with these videos that I'm making, I'm saying, for example, in Dvorak, listen to the orchestration. You can listen throughout the whole 1 hour piece that the same melody is played, but it's played in different nuances. It's played faster, it's played slower, louder. And I think that that is really something that can help younger people to really listen to it, take them by the hand and understand and tell them what they're actually looking for or listening to.
Yeah.
And that's the way that my parents did it with me. And I know that my mother is absolutely touched that sometimes I make videos about that, because she says, "Ha, so it was good that I did that."
Yeah, sometimes being a mom is a thankless job, because we are dragging our kids to these things and they're, kicking and screaming, but at the end of the day, you can walk into, and I know I can walk into so many different arenas of humans and have an intelligent conversation about anything from Vivaldi to sports to fashion to art, whatever the thing is. And it makes you a more well rounded, interesting
Absolutely.
person who's
Yeah.
also interested. My mom used to always say, you're only bored if you're boring. And
My mom
so,
said that too. My dad, my sister said one time, "Oh, Dad, I'm bored." And my dad sat her down and said, "You will never say that again. Only boring people are bored." And that really stuck. I've never said that in my life ever again. My sister never says it either.
right.
Just don't say that, because he's right. You know, only boring people are bored, because you need to be curious. There's so many things around the world. And back then when we were kids, he would say, here's a thesaurus, open it up and you won't be bored anymore. Like,
Yeah.
kind of feed your brain, feed your mind. And what he also said, which is something, what you were alluding to, is you need to understand when somebody is sitting across from you and they're talking about Mozart, that they're probably not talking about the Mozart chocolate. We have Mozart chocolates.
Oh,
You should understand that.
yeah.
You need to kind of understand a little bit. When somebody mentions Vivaldi, you should know that, you know, you should just know certain things.
Yeah. I mean, in the States, it's really pushed. My kids go to a pretty affluent public school, but still very affluent. And they talk about how we're always first in the country club sports,
Mhm.
tennis, swimming, golf, and then the other sports are not focused as much. But my mom always said, being a woman, she would say it to my sister especially, learn how to play golf because that's where the deals are made. I mean, like, and it's the truth. Like no one's making deals, and really these big deals, they're happening at the bar over a Manhattan. They're happening on the golf course. They're happening at the country club over lunch while whatever's happening. You need to be able to have these conversations, and only through experiences. I tell my kids now, I'm like, let's go on a vacation to wherever instead of just gifts, because gifts come and go. You won't remember.
Yeah.
I'll say to them, like, what'd you get for Christmas last year? No clue. Where'd we go for Christmas last year?
And
Portugal or Saint whatever. And so they're starting to learn that experiences and learning new things and opening your mind to all of these different things. You went to 3 different boarding schools, is it?
4.
4 different board.
Boarding schools, yes. I also, just one thing to what you were just saying is, it actually, it also goes further than that, because if you're sitting together with a CEO or, with someone like that, they don't want to talk shop the whole time. They're
No.
not going to talk about that. They're going to tell you about the new piece of art that they just bought, the new museum that they went to. You should know that the Prado, if he says we went to the Prado last week, you shouldn't say, oh, you went to Prada. You mean, you should know that it's, a famous museum in Madrid. And that is exactly why you need to learn these things,
Yeah.
because you need to be able to make a conversation and make not just a lasting You need to be able to make friends is
Yeah.
basically what I'm trying to say, and you do that through elevated conversation.
I actually just watched a video this morning, and it was talking about how wealthy people can pull you in or push you out, and you don't even realize it's happening from circles based on conversations.
Mhm.
So if you're like, oh, where are you going on a trip? Or what did you do? Or what did you buy? If you don't know about those things, it places you on the outside of the conversation. So you're literally excluding yourself from the circle by way of lack of knowledge. And I was just like, wow, I never really thought about it that
I
way.
never
Like,
thought about it like that either, but
right?
it's true because at the end of the day, and that's exactly what I'm fighting against, it's such a gate kept, society, the
Yeah.
one that I'm a part of as well. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm definitely a part of that, but why don't we just open those doors? I mean, we've opened the doors to so many other things. Why can't
Fear,
we fear? Yeah,
fear.
has to
At
be
the
fear.
end of the day, it's an exclusive club and they're afraid of it being taken away. Have you gotten any pushback on sharing?
Actually, no. Well, you know what? At the beginning, yes. Funnily enough, yes. When I was I mean, I'm still not huge, right? I'm about to get to 100,000 followers, which is
Yeah.
crazy because I started 4 months ago and I would have never dreamt of this. But I remember at the beginning, usually behind my back, but I am aware of everything that is said behind my back. Of course, I am. Um, but you know what? Now, those exact people that were saying these things behind my back, they're the ones who are texting me, who are telling me, also parts, their stories and are saying, Leonie, can you maybe talk more about this? Because I think that this is still something that you didn't touch on. So now they're the ones that are giving me tips. Um,
Love that.
so now actually everyone is very happy about it. Everyone that matters to me and that's very close to me.
Well, I'm sure like it's nerve like is she going to talk about us? Is she going to talk you know what I mean? Like there is a bit
Yeah.
of that when you get a platform, I'm sure there's still lurkers on my pages of is she dropping dimes about our experience? You did make a video about the fact that people won't clap for you. And I've experienced this and I've always remembered the biblical kind of idea of you can't go home or that where you come from, they won't know you. Have
Mm.
you experienced that like where you are in this light and the people from home can't maybe see that or they don't understand it or is it starting to come together?
You know what? Not at all, because the friends that I have, I handpicked them, and that's also what I'm always saying is sometimes you have to realize that some people are not meant to be in your life anymore. And all of those people that would probably act the way that you just said, they're not in my life anymore. And I can't be living my life, always thinking about what other people are going to think about me. I did that
Nope.
long enough, and it took me many, many, many years to get over that. So the people that I have now in my life, I've curated them very, very well. And
Ooh, I just saw a book title.
which one?
I just saw Curated by Leonie.
Oh, that's very good.
That's
We're
so
going
good.
That's very, very good. We're going to write that down.
Right? That all of a sudden I just saw
Curated
like,
by Leonie. Everything in my life is curated, and it's
yes.
curated with so much intention, and I think that's another thing that we're missing. We're missing the intention behind our life. What and it goes so much further, right? We were also talking, Meredith, about where does your money go? Your money goes to the things that you care about. And you took it even a step further, which I found incredibly fascinating. And you were so right, when we talk about politics, where in money does our where does our government put our money?
Is our
You
values.
That's our values, exactly. It goes so much further than, the clothes that are in your closet. Um, but, living in general with intention, and especially doing that also with your close circle around you. So that's a very long answer to a very
No.
short
I
question.
I love your whole thing on intentional. And the reason I one of the reasons I sent your video to somebody because I mean, I can only speak for the United States, but it's almost like we collect as much as possible. And it's like the more you have, then you feel, I don't know, fulfilled or whatever. And like for myself, I just got rid of like 8 garbage bags of
I
clothes
love
to
that feeling. I love that feeling. You should talk to my mom.
it's like, because I do summer winter, so like winter came in now, so here comes all my winter clothes, and it's like, okay, I know I haven't worn that for like 3 winters, and then as I got rid of the summer, I'm like, I did not wear that but once, or like I never chose it again. Like it's filling up space, it's filling up gunk, and then I also love you. I don't stalk your page, I promise. I was I was also loving how you were talking about your leather jacket that you've been pining over for a while now, and you hit a milestone in your life and then you bought it. And then I shared on your page about like how I said to my family, if I hit 10,000 followers, this is when I first started, I'm going to go buy myself this belt that I want. And it was, an expensive belt, like it's like whatever. And but now I look at that belt and I remember the exact time I bought it, when I walked in, when I got the belt in the box, in the bag, all the things. And it's like a cherished piece instead of gunk, instead of clutter and fill.
And how much more special is that? You open your closet or you open your jewelry box and you know exactly every single thing that I'm wearing right now is a milestone for me.
Yeah.
For example, this jacket, I received it today. One of my first followers has her own brand. And she made this jacket and she said, "You know what? I really want you to have it. I don't want anything back for it. I just want you to wear it because
Mm,
it has palm trees on it." And sometimes I speak about my childhood in Dubai where there's so many palm trees, and I just want you to have it. So this is also a big milestone for me. This
yeah.
is a gift that one of my followers, who's now since become my friend, a lovely, lovely girl from Morocco that I've really been connecting with. And that's just, I'm gonna have this for the rest of my life. I'm gonna
Yeah.
give it to my children and I'm gonna tell them that story. How special is that?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that I love the idea because, especially when kids are in school, be it college or high school, I don't think that they really have leaned into, and you talk about curating friendships and that the people around you and how important that is, and I talk to my younger kids and it's just like, you are the people you hang around with. If they're a bunch of knuckleheads, it's just a matter of time before you do knucklehead stuff. If they're going to the gym in the morning, you're going to go to the gym in the morning. If they're studying for 3 hours, you're going to look around. I mean, I remember when I went to college, I went a few years later, and I remember in the dorm room, I'm looking at the girls, I'm like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Studying." And I'm like, how do you how do you do that? Because I never really learned how to study. And they're like, "Oh, you just read the thing and then make the notes and then rewrite them a couple times. And if you do this, you
Yeah,
get an A on the test." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to
that's how
sit
you
here
do
like
it.
an adult. You know what I mean? I'm going to do what you guys are doing." And I ended up graduating with like straight A's all through college because the people I hung around with were doing those things. And
Exactly.
then I morphed into those things. Now, if I would have went into college and everyone's going to frat parties and drinking 5 days, 6 days, 7 days a week and, whatever, I probably would have aligned myself with those behaviors. And I love the way you talk about similar values.
Yeah.
Like your friend's not going to call you up and go, "Want to go do some meth?" Like that's not happening.
Exactly. That's definitely not happening. And
That's
and
not
that
happening.
Look, and that is also something most, the things that I speak about, I usually speak out of I always speak about personal
Yeah.
experience. And I think that's why people have resonated so much because they see that it's authentic. I'm
Yeah.
just sharing. I wear my heart on my sleeve and I don't want to impose my views on anybody, but I really want to show up here as your big sister and tell you,
Yeah.
listen, I've been there. If I were you, I probably wouldn't go down that path. I had some really bad friends when I was in my early 20s.
Mhm.
And I started noticing, but I was still too young or not strong enough to really stand against it and say, "You know what? I don't want to do this."
Yeah.
And I'm really noticing it, especially now during my MBA, which has been a very challenging, very very challenging program for me. You know, I just could not be friends with, there was a group, the party animal group. I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I just said, "You know what? No, I need to be friends with the people who have the same outlook on life, which is, we work hard, we study hard. We're not going to fall back on large amounts of money that our parents are going to leave us because our parents are telling us, listen, everything that you have, you got to work for it."
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, those are the people that I made friends with because I
Right.
realized otherwise I'm going to go down the wrong path.
Well, I talked to my husband about this even when it comes to business. I talk about red light, green light.
Mhm.
And if it aligns with you and you get excited and it's a green light, move forward in that. Like it's lighting up your spirit. But if it's a red light, if it's falling out of alignment with your own frequency, if you're, going against your own morals, your values, your judgments, and where you want to be, I always say reverse engineering. So see yourself in 5 years.
Yes,
What's
I
that
love
person doing?
Mhm.
Is that person drinking 5 days a week who's on stage? Is that person, partying all the time and ignoring their work responsibilities or their family responsibilities? No, that person goes to the gym, goes for walks, eats apples, has, positive conversations. Like reverse engineer where you want to go. It's easier than to align yourself with that 5-year person
Yeah,
instead of looking down and going, I don't know the next step. Go
complete
be that person.
be that person, and it also makes it so much more tangible when you're
Yes.
reverse engineering than, you're looking ahead and you're saying, how am
Yeah.
I gonna do this? But if you really say, you write it down, "This is me in 5 years, and exactly, this is what I would probably be doing in 5 years, so how do I get there?"
Yep.
And that is how you set yourself goals, and it's so much easier that way.
So much easier that way. Um, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but I know that you've talked about it on social media, so I figure it's fair game. You did find yourself in a wheelchair.
Yes, I did.
And can you talk about that in the way that you want to talk about it?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for asking me in such a nice way, because I've had a couple of, interviews in the past couple of days where they just, you know
Meh.
because a lot of journalists also forget that some things are just, still very deeply personal and very hurtful to talk about. But like I said, I'm an open book. And for me, the most important thing was when I started on social media was that I will always be true to myself and I don't have anything to be ashamed of. And if I can help at least a single person with this, then I feel like I've done my duty. I always say that I just have a very strong sense of responsibility. And yeah, so basically, for anybody who doesn't know, I suffered from a very terrible eating disorder for a couple of years. And I think this was like 5 years ago. I would say sometimes you relapse, sometimes you feel better. I thank goodness it's been about 2.5 years at this point, 2 years
Wow,
where
that's
I've been
that recent.
yeah, where I've been good. But you know what I have to say, what I think is really making me good? It's also that idea of I want to have a family at some point. And when I was in that wheelchair, the doctor told me, if you're gonna keep going, you're dying. You're dying. Your organs are literally shutting down, Leonie. And they said it to me with it was so I don't know, it was just it was
Heavy.
terrible. It was so heavy, I saw what it was doing to my family, but the issue is with an eating disorder is you're not doing it on purpose. It's like, if anybody has ever had it, I know that a lot of women have eating disorders and they don't talk about it, but for me, it was like a different person in my head. It was like a friend, kind of, It was like it was me, but it wasn't me, and that girl in my head was saying, "You have to do this." I never did it because I wanted to be thin. I did it because there were so many things happening in my life, and I felt like I lost control.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I could really control was the food that I was eating,
Yeah.
and the amount of steps that I was taking. So I did that to such a sickening extreme because I thought that that's the only way for me to really have control. Um, and then I ended up in the wheelchair, and that completely changed my life because first of all, being in an actual wheelchair and not being able to walk, you notice a lot of things that are wrong with this world. I wasn't, for example, in Hamburg.
Especially in Europe. I mean, we
Yeah,
just were in Portugal
in
and I'm like,
it's impossible. You
Yeah.
can't get anywhere. I remember, thank goodness my sister was there. She really helped me through that. She carried me down the stairs because
Wow.
we didn't have an elevator at our house. She's the person who did all of this. And sometimes we'd be on a sidewalk and I wouldn't be able to get down because and what does that mean? Does that mean that people that are disabled, they can't leave their houses because we
Yep.
don't have the right infrastructure in place? And you start seeing the world very differently when you were in a wheelchair, especially because I didn't even know that I was going to get out of it.
Wow.
We for the first half year, it was like we're going to try to save your feet, but we'll see if that works out. So, always having this in the back of my head, seeing what it was doing to my family, I think that's one of the biggest life-changing experiences that I've ever had. But
Yep.
I believe in God, and I really think that God did that for a purpose. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, being in that wheelchair is almost like that grave kind of, I always say, punch in the face to say, this is it. Like, because some people have eating disorders for decades and decades and it doesn't affect them in that way. And I think that very physical experience was like, we're done. Like we're
Exactly.
this is real and it's happening and it's not cute. And we have to figure out, yeah, we have to figure out a way out of this
We gotta
because
get it, yes, and I think that's why it had to be physical for me because
yeah,
I would ignore it, my parents, my friends, my family, they would say, "Leonie, you are so sick, I looked so terrible," and
wow.
and that's also another reason, like, I don't share any of that on social media, any pictures of, like, before and after, anything like that, because I see this trend on social media with all of these girls, what I eat in a day and my exercise, my routine, and so on. And I personally believe if you're not a nutritionist, you should not be speaking about these things because a woman's body is sacred and is sacred to herself. And if I'm going to start posting about these things, there's going to be a 12-year-old girl who's going to say, I want to be that skinny. And
Yep.
and they don't even understand that I was sick.
Right.
It's not because I ate enough protein or I took and, walked around enough steps in a day. It had nothing to do with that. And I know a lot of people that do have eating disorders that are on social media and they don't say it. You
Right.
know, they pretend that everything is normal, everything is fine. And I think that's extremely dangerous, which is why I was so quick to jump in when I was started receiving these questions and say, listen, you should not be asking me. I'm the wrong person to talk to about this.
Which you did come in after, I think it was after the Times article talking about that it was kind of talking about you doing like a get ready with me in fashion and makeup. And you're like, whoa, this is not why we're here. Was it the Times article or was it some other
No, that was the
situation?
Times article. The
Okay.
Times article basically you know how my content is a little bit everything that I love, everything that is exciting to me, and I posted a video back when I had, like, 10,000 followers, and I said, "Listen, a lot of people are telling me that I need to find a niche, and that's great if what you want is quick growth, but I don't want that. That's
Yeah.
not what I'm here for. I'm not here because I wanna I don't monetize, for example. I don't have any brand deals, anything of that where I
Yet.
could
Yet.
yet. It would be nice to do that at some point, right? But only if something really aligns with me. But what I want to mention with that is I really stayed true to myself.
Mhm.
Um, and wait, what was the question?
You were talking about the Times article, how it kind of
Times article.
portrayed you as a get ready with me girl.
Exactly. So I made, some people were asking me about my favorite perfumes and I showed my favorite perfumes and I told them, this makes me feel like a powerful woman and I tried to explain the notes behind it, I made it in a sense that is so me. I didn't just say, look, this is my favorite perfume, buy. And the Times then just proceeded to say, this is this girl from an aristocratic family, but she's just, a TikTok influencer that just speaks about fashion and makeup and so on. I found it very misogynistic to be completely honest with you. And that is, again, one of those things. If people don't really do the research on me or don't even let me speak, they will
Yep.
put me into that box.
Yeah. They
That happened.
definitely they definitely didn't watch enough videos and wanted to, like you're saying, put you in a box. The
Yeah,
other thing Go
so
ahead.
many so many of my followers actually commented under that and said, "This is, simply put, really bad journalistic work. You did not do your research."
Oops.
Oops. I was very
Oop
happy though about that.
Well, and the one thing that I love, of course, another thing is you talk, like, a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're so effortless." And you're
Yeah,
like, "No, this is very intentional," back to intentional.
yes.
Um, and I've seen a gal on here on TikTok talking about, like, it's like no makeup makeup. And I
Mhm.
think that you kind of have that vibe is like the no makeup makeup where it's just a dusting of pink or a
Yeah,
dusting
a
of
little
brown,
bit.
but it is intentional, but looks effortless. And
Mm.
I think that the girls are really clamoring for this. I myself am like, if it takes more than 5 minutes, I'm so out. Like
Yeah.
I can't. I have zero tolerance or patience for any of it. And I love that you're bringing kind of the intentionally effortless, intentional look back.
Thank you so much. It's like you said, it's not effortless at all. It's
Right.
everything is curated with intention, but and it starts from the very beginning. I only have items that to me feel like me. And what people are portraying when they see effortless chic, it's clothes that are so you.
Mhm.
It's when people look at you and they see a perfect, it's like a red line between you as a person and what you portray to the outside. Um, and that's the exact same thing, with the makeup and everything. I used to be very insecure, especially about my nose, for example. My nose is kind of, it's not the most straight nose in the world. But I started realizing in this world where everyone is kind of has the same nose and wears the same things and is kind of the same, how beautiful is it to just stand out?
Yeah,
And now I even put like color on my nose so that you can see that it's not super straight, because I find that so chic, and you're rocking yourself with the way that you are, and you have you can't see it now, but like my laughing lines, like, how cool is that? You look
yeah.
so different, and it's a sign of who you are as a person that you portray onto the outside.
And you also didn't you say it's your mom's nose?
Yeah, it is, exactly, and whenever I see myself in my mirror, my mom lives on my face. My mom and I look like the same person.
Yeah, I have, like, this, like, little bump that just kind of, like, goes out here, and it's my grandma O'Brien.
Oh,
That's
wow.
her, like, little wiggle right here, and I'm always like, "We have it's exact," like, or my eye color or whatever, my
Yeah.
round face, and I used to just dislike it so much growing up until I started seeing women with round faces on, the TV and media, and I'm like and then I had my daughter, and I was like, well, if she looks like me and I think she's pretty, then that means I must be
Yes,
pretty. Like,
exactly.
and there's a part of moms, and it's not that we live through our daughters, but we see our own beauty through our daughters. So the fact that you want to keep your mom's nose is such a beautiful gift to her, to that an homage, if you will, that says, "Mom, you're so beautiful that I don't want to change
I'm
anything about
happy.
me."
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, and my mom is my biggest role model, my biggest rock in the world. She's everything to me, and whenever people tell me that, you look I have people that come up to me on the street sometime and say, "Hey, are you your mother's daughter?" And I say,
Yeah.
"Yes." They say, "You look just like her 20, 30 years ago." It's incredible. And how beautiful is that? I have my grandfather's eyes, for example. Everyone tells me that as well. And it's beautiful that, your face is an homage to the life, to the blood in your veins, the life
Yeah.
that you've lived, the experiences that you've had. And it's like an artwork, and that is also how you should deal with it. That's how, putting all of this stuff in your face. If you have a very big insecurity, I'm also never one to judge, right? I would never, and that's also something that I want to adhere to, is every single woman, it's their body, and they should do with it what they want.
Yeah.
And we live in a time also where there's enough men that are telling us what to do and what not to do with our bodies. So I am not going to be one of those people,
No. Yeah.
Um, but it's just beautiful to find beauty in yourself and in your natural, in the way that you just look.
Yeah, and it feels good. Like I see younger gals and they have curly hair, they're straightening it. If they're straightening it, they're trying to curl, like they're always whatever.
Doing something.
And don't get me wrong, like I color my hair because I'm not ready to go gray. I tried it for a year and I couldn't do it anymore. My mom was like, no. And so like we all do all the things, but to like learn how to do your own hair, to
Mhm.
learn how to dress your body to be comfortable and look amazing. Like that's, I think, a gift to finally like wake up one day and go, this is what I'm working with. Like
Yeah.
let's be good with it somehow.
Oh, and listen, when I was a teenager, I had pink hair, like pink dip hair, and I was wearing leather jackets and studs, and I had like 5 piercings on my ear and all of that. And it took me a really long time to realize, you know what? That's not me. What am I doing? I'm doing what I'm seeing online, but it's just not me. But I think that that's a thing that comes with age,
Yeah.
right? I mean, when you're 18, 19, you're going to do what the cool girl does. And then when you're older, and that's why I'm so happy now, coming of
Yeah.
age, I guess. I'm almost 30, I'm turning 30. And it's so exciting. It was so different turning 20 than turning 30. I
Yes.
finally understand who I am. I
Yep.
finally know what I want. I am so unapologetically myself. And how beautiful is that? I'm
It's
just
the
so happy.
greatest gift. And I'll tell you what, the fact that you're doing that even before 30, I always look at the 20s. I tell parents when I talk to them, I'm like, if you think having a newborn is hard, wait till you have a 19-year-old or a
Oh,
22-year-old.
I
It's
can imagine.
way more difficult because like you have zero control. You can't put them in a timeout. You can't wrestle them in, to whatever. And also in your 20s, I think that that's the decade where you're like, pink hair, green hair,
Yeah.
studs, modern,
You're
country. Like, what am I? Who am I? Am I my parents? Am I my friends? Who am I? And I think that that's that decade where people just like expand and contract and expand and run over here and try all these things because they're trying to figure out, am I my parents? Am I an extent? Like, who am I? And I think that that's that beautiful decade of complete and utter chaos. And then as you become 30, then you are starting to lean in and let all the noise fall away. And sometimes that happens when you're 40 or 50. That's why you hear women go, if you think 30 is good, wait till you hit 40. If you think 40 is good, wait till you hit 50. Because
Yeah.
the noise is quieter. You can finally hear your own voice for once,
Mm.
in all the chaos of the world. And I know you're dating long distance.
Yeah, I am.
My current husband, not my future husband, just joking. My current husband, when we
It's your ex-husband.
not my ex-husband, my current husband and I, we dated long distance for 2 years.
At the beginning
And
as well?
huh?
Like, from the very beginning?
So we met and he lived in the same city as I did in Cleveland. And so we became friends and dated a little bit. And then he got a job in Philadelphia. And so I had 2 kids. And so I wasn't moving there. And so like not even ring on finger, marriage. And so we dated long distance and we would just sit there with our phones on our chests watching television. Like we would watch what is the name of that one show where they you've been voted off the island? I can't even think of the name right now.
Love Island or something?
But it was like it's still actually on. Of course,
Wow.
everyone's going to start in the comments when they watch this. Um, but it's like where you have to do these crazy challenges. Anyways, we would just sit there and watch TV together and talk and ask questions and like
Mm.
you get to know each other without like being at dinner and being on
Yeah,
or like you're just talking and you end up talking about everything. And so
exactly.
like by the time we said I do and then I moved in with him with my
Mhm.
kids, we had like who's working, who's staying home, how many kids, city, country mouse. Like we discussed everything and nothing, there was no secrets. There was no beige. It was this is who we are and then we would date, which is the best part. Like the dating weekends where you finally connect and do see each other and you're like so excited to see each other and it's so romantic, right? And so I would like people are like, I don't know, we're kind of long distance. I'm like, no, this is perfect. Use
I
it
think
to your advantage.
it's the biggest gift in the world. I have never, I've had with my other relationships, there were many reasons why those didn't work out, and that was all good that it didn't work out.
Of course.
But I really realized that for me, long distance, because we met and the next day he flew back to Mexico. I didn't see him for over 2 months. Like,
Wow.
we literally met a day before he flew back. And, we didn't even, like, kiss. We just went to dinner with
Yeah.
all of our friends. He said, "I would love to stay in contact with you." I said, "Great, sure." I love that. He was so handsome and so nice, and I just thought, "Oh, this is too good to be true."
He's
He's
dreamy. He's dreamy.
very
I just have to vote
so
in on that. I just have to give my 2 cents. He is so dreamy, so cute.
he's so wonderful, and he's just I'm the biggest fan. We've been together for almost a year now, and we just it's crazy. It's just it gets better and better and better. And it's been a
Yeah.
year of long distance, and we only see each other once every 2 months.
Yeah.
Um, but really getting to know someone from a distance is so special in the sense that, like you said, you talk about everything.
Everything. Yep.
Everything. And, because it's not very easy. It's not like it's convenient or anything.
Yeah.
So the reason that you're talking to each other is it's extremely inconvenient. We also have an 8-hour time difference, by the
Oh
way.
god, that's
So
rough.
it's super rough. We only have 4 or 5 hours in a day to really speak with each other, and he's working, I'm studying, I'm doing the MBA, and so on. We don't have a lot of time to communicate. So when we do, it has to be good. And I think that you save yourself a lot of time in a long distance relationship, because if you are dating someone that is in the same city, like you said, you go out, you go for dinner, you go for drinks, you go out with your friends, you don't really have the same form of communication. And the way that we met was just so fast, and we could basically tell, like, in the first 2 or 3 weeks, we would have been able to say, "You know what? This actually doesn't work. We are not aligned." You have the hard conversations at the beginning, "Would you even want to move to Mexico? Do you even wanna have kids? Like, would you even wanna get married? What kind of a life do you imagine yourself having?" And that's something that people in a normal dating situation will talk about much later on.
Yep.
So I was a big fan of just laying it out in the open, because I knew, I'm so ready to settle down, and I really want this. I'm such a family woman. I've always wanted to have kids. Like, I love this, and he's the same way. He's just amazing. I don't know. I could talk about him for hours.
Well, that's the other thing too, as you were just talking, it also allows each individual to stay their own individual self
Yes.
while in a relationship, because
Yeah.
when you're both together, and I have a girlfriend that does this, it's like she aligns herself with the boy's life and
Yeah.
becomes them.
Listen, I used to do the exact same thing. Remember how I always say that I'm a chameleon, that I
Yeah.
always kind of adapt myself? To me, that was the most dangerous thing for me, because when I was in a relationship, I became a copy of my boyfriend at the time. And first of all, Richard makes me feel like myself 100%. So even when I'm with him, I'm myself. For the first, my mom says this, my sister says this. They say, "This is the first man that you're just yourself with. This
Yep.
is you." But also, you're completely right. You're able to concentrate on yourself, on what you still want to work on. And I know that I mean, I was doing my MBA this year, and it's very important for me to do that well. I'm a very ambitious woman. I'm a very strong-headed, but also very stubborn woman. Unfortunately, I'm working on that. But this year it really allowed me to become myself, individual from a man,
Yep. While
and
still growing the relationship.
while growing the relationship.
Which is like, think about that, like, he's him, you're you, but then you're also this
Yeah, I like
partnership
this. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like there's no other way when you do and are in the same planet, same hemisphere even. You've already like maintained those behaviors and that way of talking and that way of experiencing life. And so it's not like when you're in the same area, you just become him because you've already established those
Mhm.
roles and
Yeah.
those patterns, and so it'll just be normal. It would be abnormal for you to become him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
it would be weird. So let me ask you, what's the next step? You're graduating with your MBA in a week?
Oh my god, yes. I'm graduating. I have my everything, my dissertation and so on is on the 5th of December, and then I'm graduating on the 18th of December, and then it's Christmas time. I'll be with my family. Ricardo is coming. He's going to be spending a month with us in Germany and in Austria. I'm so excited. It's the very first time that someone from, my non-polit we say familia politica, my political family, somebody else is coming. And then hopefully, I'll be moving to Mexico in February, which would be
Wow.
amazing. I'm still kind of figuring out, things on the job front because obviously, as you can imagine, there's been a lot of change for me.
Yeah.
And I always thought that I was gonna go back to consulting, go back to a corporate job. Um, but I've been having a lot. Yeah, I know everyone tells me, Leonie, if you're going to, it dims my light at the end of the day, maybe. But I just have to figure out, maybe I can do both at the same time. It's a very exciting time.
Well, I commented on one of your videos or emails. When I emailed you, I said, "You're a whole damn brand."
Yes.
And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I see so much that you bring to women and relationships and just, the brand. When I say a whole damn brand, what I mean is everything from music to art to culture to relationships to girlfriends, fashion, makeup, hair, book deals. It was funny because I was on ChatGPT. I'm like, I'm going to a Christmas party, and it's one of those Christmas parties that the gift is around $150 for the attendee. A lot of people don't know this, but when you go to nice parties, you bring
You
expensive
have
gifts.
to. Mhm.
And so I was kind of in ChatGPT, like, okay, Christmas gift, preppy, blue blood, Christmas for home, not bedroom. Because it started giving me like sheet sets. I'm like, I'm not buying someone sheet sets.
No.
So like there's an art to this gift giving for these
Mhm.
types of parties, and I need Leonie. Like, tell me where to buy, like, what gift I need to buy that is, that's not average. It's not basic. I need like, and so like that, you need to start a notebook somewhere of things that people don't
That's a great
realize,
idea. Yeah.
like gift giving or there's so many things that is just like, okay, I'm going throughout my day, I don't want to have to research because I went on Bloomingdale's, it like didn't do anything for me. Like I need almost like a boutique, some like very cool place and she collects those the dogs, the ceramic dogs.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, okay, I already gave her something like that. So like there's all these things that people need to access that are exclusive or beautiful or different. That's not a sweater. The first thing the ChatGPT gave me was like all these bar sets, which were beautiful. Like they were beautiful bar sets. I'm like, okay, well, I don't drink, so I don't really want to give a gift of alcohol,
Yeah.
or alcohol inspired gift. So like I would love to see you map out all of the different things and put it on a wall and go, okay, how do I speak about this? Or how do I help people with these things? My
Mhm.
girlfriend, she gave me this amazing, it was just like a travel set of Dr. Strum. It's a German face
Yeah.
line. And I started using it. I'm
Sturm, Dr. Barbara Sturm.
like, how does no one know about this stuff?
I
Like
know Dr. Barbara Sturm is she has great things. Absolutely, she's great.
great
She's
things.
very
And
well known. Her products are very well known in Germany.
but not as much here. So like then I'm trying to find them, and and then you mentioned something recently about some sort of skincare. No, it was your makeup, your blush, I think it was. And I immediately like started
Westman
Googling it.
Westman Atelier, which is my all-time favorite. I have everything, and and that's another thing when I say about curating. The first blush that I ever got, my sister got that for me when she
Yes.
was 15 and I was 18, and I couldn't afford it. I just thought, it's way too expensive, and my sister saved up for weeks to get me that blush. And now
Yeah.
every single time that I buy something from Westman, I'm so thankful, and I think, "Oh my god, my sister 10 years ago, she bought me my first blush."
And it's
But
beautiful. And it's, I mean, like if you think about per use, it's not
I'm a
a
big
lot of.
girl maid. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like it might be an investment in that moment, but it's going to last so long and you're going to love it and it's not going to make you break out. Like these are the things,
Yeah,
especially because you are so world traveled, that you bring to the table things that I know for Americans, so many of us don't know about, like CVS, maybe Nordstrom, maybe Macy's brands. But I just talked like you. Brands.
Oh, you don't say it like that?
No,
Brands?
brands.
Oh,
Brands. There's lots of brands. Gotta plug your nose in brands. At the same time, like there's just that kind of Condé Nast, if you will, of
yes.
the rest of life, and that's kind of that's my life coaching hour for you.
I love that. You know what? And you're so right, because I see myself going a lot into that direction. It's, storytelling for brands.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be something very natural for me. And also something that interests me a lot. How do we translate that into different cultures? But that's another topic for another day.
That's
I don't want to
that's
talk
after
too much.
December 5th. That's after 2026 is a whole new
It's gonna be
chaotic
a chapter, yeah.
excitement. Yes, I love it so much. Well, I have to say, I'm so glad I found you. I'm so glad you came up on my FYP. I'm so glad. It was funny. I emailed you and you sent back the most beautiful email.
Thank you.
And I like ran and showed my husband. I'm like, because I was waiting at the end of it to say, but thanks, but no thanks. And so at the end, you were like, I'm so excited to do this. And I was like, oh, she's doing it. Like you took so
Of
much
course.
time and care and effort and intention and like all the things. And I just, sometimes we don't have time to do all of those things, but I so appreciate that you did because I felt seen. I felt like, wow, this like really incredible woman wants to come on the podcast. And
Wow.
I'm just really honored to have you on. I think that you're a spectacular person.
Thank
And
you, Meredith.
anybody that gets to listen to you is being blessed with amazing information. And I hope all the girls go follow you on Instagram and TikTok and all the things and go get yourself a website with your name because before anybody else does. And
Okay, good tip.
go on GoDaddy or wherever and just start getting your .coms in order so you have that. And this isn't going to go live yet, so go do it before it goes live.
Okay, I'll do that, like, now.
Hey. To let's see, lvus.com.
LVUS.
Isn't
Yeah,
that your initials
I
kind
feel like
of?
my name is just such a mouthful. Leonie von Ungern-Sternberg, and no one's gonna type that in. Poor
No
them.
one's typing all that.
No one's typing all, especially that's the short version of my name. My
Oh,
name has
geez.
2 names more. It's Leonie von Ungern-Sternberg zu Pürkel, and that's without the titles.
Yeah, no, we can't. Or we have to do like what is your official title?
It's so in Germany, it's not a title anymore, right? We abolished it. Like we abolished aristocracy in 1918 or 1917, I believe. But it's just part of my name now. It's Baroness, Leonie Baroness von Ungern-Sternberg, Baroness zu Pürkel. And I also have 3 first names, Leonie, Sophie, Victoria, because I don't have enough apparently.
Oh my gosh, kindergarten must have been interesting for you, like
Took me a
literally.
while to learn my last name.
Yeah, you need to do I know you have nothing else to do this week, but, like, start throwing some stuff around, and for $15, a year, you can just hold on to some of these .coms for yourself. Baroness, Baroness Leonie.
I don't, you know what? I want to get away from that whole Baroness thing
Yeah.
because for like in Germany, it's really just a name. But now that I have so many followers from around the world, I'm realizing that they don't really understand what it means to be European, like a European Baroness. It truly doesn't mean anything. It's just a part of my name, and I think that that really takes me down the wrong path. So I'm going to not
So
use the
Leonie
title
it. We're just
Baroness.
gonna Leonie, not just, we're gonna
Leonie.
Leonie it.
Exactly.
I love it so much. Well, thank you so very much for being here. I
Meredith.
appreciate all of your content, staying true to yourself to the end. And that's going to be so key because you are enough. We need no frills. We need no nothing. It's just you. So I appreciate you being here. And I'll see everyone here next week on TikTok Famous Podcast. Thanks, Leonie.
Thank you, Meredith. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the TikTok Famous Podcast with Meredith Willits. If you're loving the unfiltered stories and behind-the-scenes truths, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share the show. Until next time, let's get famous.